Hello, my name is Gal Szekely, and I'm a psychotherapist and life coach from San Francisco Bay Area. What I'm going to talk about today is the TV series In Treatment. In Treatment was created originally in Israel under the name Betipul, and it shows a therapist working with his clients. The series was later on bought and reproduced by HBO in the US. When you compare the two versions, the American version is very much word by word with the Israeli production. However, every time that there is small differences between the series, if there's a phrase missing or something added, if the body language is different, or even if the way the office is set up is different, those differences tell us something significant about the differences in culture. So in a moment I'm going to show you a short piece of the American version of In Treatment and then the Israeli version, and then I'm going to talk about the differences that we see in the series and how do they reflect the cultural differences.
Do you recognize me?
No. I'm sorry, should I?
Well, I was told you're the best. A man in tune with everything around him, so yes, I guess you should.
Thank you, but I do think that in this profession, the best is really a matter of personal opinion.
No, the best can be established by facts and figures. You're the best. I did my research. A couple former patients, someone else who knew you from graduate school. Does that pressure you?
Is it important for you to know that I am the best?
Yes.
אוקיי, אתה מזהה אותי?
How's that in person?
אני אמור לזהות אותך? ברור שאתה אמור. אמרו לי שאתה הכי טוב שיש. תודה, אבל אני באמת מאמין שהכי טוב המקצוע שלי זה עניין אישי לגמרי. טעות. הכי טוב זה עניין אמפירי. אתה הכי טוב, ואני תחקרתי את הנושא. שני מטופלים לשעבר, מטופל אחד עכשווי, וצלע מהמשפחה, מעגל שני. אתה מתכוון לומר ששאלת את כל האנשים האלו עליי? כן. זה מלחיץ אותך? קצת. העובדה שדיברת עם בן משפחה שלי, כן, זה קצת מלחיץ אותי. אין לך מה לדאוג. כולם אמרו שאתה תותח, the best.
One thing you might have noticed is that there is a difference in the way the client has done his research on the therapist. In the Israeli version, the client says that he talked to two of the therapist's former patients, a current patient, and a relative from the extended family. In the American version, on the other hand, this client says that he talked to two of the former patients and a colleague from graduate school. So when you think how that reflects the cultural differences between Israel and the US, you might know that in the US, there's a much stronger emphasis on privacy. So the right to keep your own personal detail and your own personal space, your own personal life to yourself is very important in the US. In Israel, on the other hand, Israel is a smaller country. A lot of people know each other. So there's much more tendency to feel more connected and to feel entitled to talk about other people. Another thing you might have noticed is that the personal space between the client and therapist is different. In the Israeli version, the client leans forward and looks directly at the therapist. In the American version, on the other hand, he leans back and creates much more personal space. That reflects again another cultural difference between the two countries. There's a tendency to keep more personal space as well as to keep more privacy in the US. Versus in Israel, there's a tendency to kind of be closer, to be more connected in that way. A third point that you might have noticed is that when the client asks the therapist a question, does it pressure you? In the Israeli version, the therapist answers the question. He says, yes, the fact that you talked to one of my relatives, yes, I do feel some pressure. In the American version, he doesn't answer the question. So one way to look at this is that in Israel, there's much stronger emphasis on direct communication. People are expected to say things as they are, to put them on the table, to really say what they think. On the other hand, in America, there's a much more tendency to be polite, to be respectful of someone else's privacy or someone else's boundaries and not to say things that might be considered hurtful. So in that way, the American therapist is keeping his own boundaries and doesn't answer the question. These are just few of the examples that could be understood just from this short piece. I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.